Hello everybody, it's Jen, Scrapbena Creations. I'm so excited to be doing a collaboration with my good friends here on YouTube, Mary Polanco and Courtney Kreeber. Today we are sharing amongst the three of us 10 cards using one mini stamp, and the mini stamp that we are using is a little sparkle stamp set by Lawn Fawn. So I'm going to give you a quick preview here of the 3 cards that I'm making, and then I'll show you the first card that we're going to create together, and then we'll jump into the coloring for the first card. So I'm going to be creating 3 cards, like I said. Courtney will be doing 3, and Mary will be doing 4 cards for you today. And I'm just coloring here with my distress markers. I'll talk a little bit about the coloring, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about why we decided to do this fun little collaboration. But I am, like I said, using my I'm so used to saying distress oxide now. I'm using my distress markers. I haven't pulled these out in a really long time, and these used to be my favorite coloring medium. I still love it. I just forget to pull them out. So I grabbed my distress markers in spun sugar, dried marigold, squeezed lemonade, cracked pistachio, tumbled glass, and milled lavender to color up my little uniforms. I did just lay down the color, and then I added some water here to just blend out that color really nicely, and this is going to give me a very soft pastel look for my unicorns. I used some light gray for the unicorn itself just to give it some shading, but I wanted my little unicorns here to look white. I also colored up the fairies using the same colors. I'm not going to leave that in the video for you to see, just because they're so tiny and I thought it would be a bit challenging. So Mary had some of her subscribers ask if she could do 10 card video using a mini stamp set, and Mary said yes. If you watched our live from this past week, she said she immediately kind of thought, oh, what am I doing getting myself into making 10 cards using a mini stamp set? So she decided to ask us if we wanted to help in providing the inspiration today for all of you using a mini stamp set. And basically we just wanted to show you that you can spend $4 on a card and you can still stretch it and get a lot of use out of it. So we hope that this provides you some inspiration for a mini stamp set. So moving on to creating this card, I am using some chunky glitter by Lawn Fawn here, and all the products will be listed in the description box below. In case you miss me saying something or you just want to check out the products in more detail, you will be able to link to them directly. So I've cut out some clouds here using the Sunny Studio Fluffy Cloud die. I went ahead and I did a bunch of these beforehand and used the chunky glitter, which I love. Now this one here that I'm opening is the Prisma glitter. This is a much finer glitter, and really it's much better to add this glitter using a small glue pen. So that's what I did here. I added some glitter to the unicorn horns. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start working on my background. So I wanted the color of my background to be rainbow, very much like how I colored up my unicorns for this card. So I'm starting out with the spun sugar. Then I'm going to move into the dried marigold. And once I get the dried marigold down, I'll use the squeezed lemonade, then moving into the cracked pistachio, tumbled glass, and then milled lavender. And I'm just using my makeup brushes here. These makeup brushes I purchased really inexpensively on Amazon, and they're linked below as well. They work great. What I love about them, if you haven't seen me use these before, is that you can just wipe them up with a microfiber cloth and move on to your next color. So it's wonderful to be able to have one tool and to clean it up really easily and keep moving. So I can't say enough about these particular makeup brushes. So I'm just going to add this last color here, and then we'll move on to creating the rest of the card. The milled lavender is so pretty. It's so soft. And I love the effect that all of these colors together give, that soft pastel rainbow color. So I am just going to add some water to this with my distress sprayer here. I let it sit for a little bit, and then I went ahead and dabbed up the water droplets with a paper towel. Went ahead and cut out a panel here with a stitched rectangle die. I also cut out a rectangle panel using some of this really pretty glitter paper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my rainbow panel onto the glitter paper with some double-sided adhesive, just because sometimes adhesive can be finicky on glitter paper. So I want to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. Get that lined up in the center, and then I'm going to go ahead and add this to my card base with my liquid adhesive. My recent adhesive of choice right now is the Art Glitter Glue. I absolutely love it. It has a fine metal tip, perfect for trying to get glue in small spaces, but also works great for larger things like adding your card panel to your card base. So I'm just laying out where I want my main clouds to be for the little unicorns here to stand on. And I'm going to kind of place them on the card panel and see if this is where I want them. I did add some foam adhesive to the back of the unicorns just to give a little added fun to this card. For the sentiments today, I am using the sentiment that comes in the stamp set, so I used that for all 3 cards. I didn't want to stray from this stamp set too much because I wanted to give you inspiration in case you don't have many supplies to show you how you can, with minimal other things, how you can go ahead and make similar cards. If you don't have distress inks or distress oxides, you could use a rainbow pattern paper that you might have in your stash. You could use watercolors or any other coloring mediums if you have them. So I'm just going to add a few more clouds here to my card just to kind of round that out a little more and make it look like they're in some kind of magical land floating on clouds, just hanging out together. And I guess maybe this card could represent Mary, Courtney, and I just hanging out, having fun with each other. So here's where I'm stamping the sentiment, and the sentiment reads, "Hope your day sparkles." So I'm going to add a few of the fairies here just to finish off this card. So each of the unicorns has their own little fairy, and I go ahead and I add a wand for them as well, just putting them in various places on the card, and card number 1 is complete. This is my favorite card out of the 3 cards. So moving on to card number 2, I'm going to do some Copic coloring here. I'm going to show you how I colored one of the unicorns. I have all the caps out for you to the left-hand side. And I colored up the other unicorns using the same color trios. So you'll get to see all the color combinations I used with coloring this one little unicorn. I want to chat with you a little bit about an exciting hop coming up. If you caught the live that was over on Mary's channel, I will link it below in case you missed it. We had someone ask about a hop, and in the heat of the moment, Courtney said, "Why don't we host a hop?" There were a number of new crafters and new creators on YouTube or Instagram who had never heard of a hop or been in a hop and really wanted to try their hands at it. So we said we would love to help people through that process. So not only can you be a part of that hop, but we'll also email you step-by-step instructions on what a hop is, how to participate in it, so that you can have some confidence in joining us. So if you're interested in participating in the hop, it's an encouragement theme, because that's what we're doing. We're encouraging others to create, regardless of what level you're at. Just create, have fun, join us. To sign up, you'll need to email Courtney. I will leave her email and all the information in the description box below. You'll need to do that by July 10th. And then the hop will be on Thursday, August 1st. You have a couple ways that you can participate. So you can do a video if you want on YouTube. You can post a picture of your craft on your blog, or you can send a card in to Courtney and she will go ahead and make a video showing all of those cards, and we'll have that be part of the hop. So all of the links and the cards will need to get to her by July 26th. So that's the deadline to send your links, send the cards. So you need to have them mailed prior to July 26th in order to get there by her. But once you send an email to Courtney on July 10th, the next day she will send you an email with all the instructions. And of course, you can ask us, Mary, myself, or Courtney, questions if you have them. Please feel free. So I'm moving on to creating the card, and I'm using some of the mint color glitter paper from the same paper pack that I used on the first card. And I'm going ahead and I'm just creating a little bit of a panel here for the bottom of my card. And then I'm going ahead and I'm using these border dies by Pink Fresh. And I'm going to die cut a top panel for my card here. And this is just a really pretty scalloped border. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this top panel to my card base. For this one, I'm just going to use my ATG adhesive. It will stick nice and strongly to the white card base, and it will stay nice and adhered to that glitter cardstock as well. I did just have to trim my one side down a little bit, and then I decided I wanted to have a little bit of color on this panel. So I pulled out my worn lipstick Distress Oxide, and I'm just going ahead and adding a little bit of that color to the panel here at the top so it's not as stark white. And I'm just dabbing off some of that color onto a piece of cardstock just so that I can get a really nice light coverage on the panel. So for this card, I wanted to show you how you could create a card with a mini stamp set using one of the larger elements. So in this case, the unicorn. And then I thought it would be cute to have the little fairy sitting on the back of her close to her tail, almost like the unicorn is telling the fairy a little story. So I've got them up on the two clouds there to the top left hand of the card. Then I wanted to balance out the rest of the card, so I'm going to add a third cloud there to the bottom right. Now, it's always been said with rules of thirds that things are more appealing to the eye in threes. So that's why I'm using 3 clouds, and then I've added 2 more fairies to that lone cloud there on the bottom right, and that will give us 3 fairies on this card. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that same sentiment, so hope your day sparkles. And I decided to do the first part of the sentiment in my black Versafine Nocturne ink, and then I grabbed out the warm lipstick again here to stamp out the sparkle. There are these adorable little stars and other little elements in this stamp set, so I decided to take the worn lipstick Distress Oxide and stamp out some of those stars. I kind of wish I had stopped back a little bit earlier, but it was one of those things of I just kept going, and I don't know if I love the end result. I wanted to use, there's a little trio of stars, and then there's a single star, so went ahead, stamped those out. As if that wasn't enough, I thought that I needed to bring in some more of that black from the sentiment. So I thought I would also stamp out one of the different single stars here in the black. This is probably my least favorite part of the card. But in the end, I think it turned out okay. However, if you recreate something like this, you may not want to be as heavy-handed with all these stars. I guess I really wanted this card to sparkle. So just finished off adding some marker to the bottom of my little unicorn, and here is card number 3. And this is an example of a clean and simple card. I'm using some really rainbow paper from Lawn Fawn here. I'm going to cut out a panel for the card using a stitched rectangle die. I want lots of white space on this card, so I'm leaving quite a bit of a white border. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down using some liquid adhesive, and then I will start creating the rest of the card. So I wanted to go ahead and stamp out my sentiment. I'm using my Nocturne ink again here. I just cut out a sentiment banner, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment right onto that banner. I wanted to do that first because it often takes the Versafine Clair ink a little bit longer to dry, and I'm notorious for putting my fingers in it, so I thought I would do that first and give it time to dry. And then here you're going to see me play around with various placements for this card. I wanted to use 3 clouds, but how I wanted them on this card, I wasn't exactly sure. I love how the little unicorn matches the colors in the paper. So once I kind of got that where I thought I wanted it, I attempted one last time to do a different type of layout. I didn't like this layout at all, so I went back to the way I had it before. But I'm just kind of showing you various ways that you could create a card like this to give you multiple cards. I think the sentiment that says "Hope your days sparkle" really allows for a lot of different kind of cards that you could send out. Friendship cards, just kind of thinking of you cards. So very versatile stamp set. So I finally committed to our clouds here. I could leave a little bit of space between the clouds because I knew that my unicorn was going to cover that space. Went ahead and added some foam adhesive to the unicorn, and I'll pop her up right in the center. I thought that I was going to have my sentiment where it is currently sitting on the panel. I did end up popping that up on some foam adhesive as well. And in the end, you'll see that I end up placing it underneath the clouds. And I thought this was a really nice layout, that it just allowed the focus of the card to really be in that top kind of 2/3 of the card. So I end up putting it here, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a little fairy to the card, and I'll just kind of put her up here on the cloud. She's got the little wand already in her hand, and I think that looks really adorable. To finish this card off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some glitter because unicorns, rainbows, and glitter just seem to go so well together. So there's card number 3 complete. Here's another look at the 3 cards I made. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll leave the links to Courtney and Mary's videos so you can see all 10 cards using this mini stamp set. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot for you all to constantly come back to my channel, leave comments, give thumbs up. I just appreciate it so much, and I can't thank you enough. So I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.